Hey there, LEGO fans and Potterheads. I'm the lawyer in the LEGO shed, and this is the 10th in a series of videos that I'll be making this year as I build my way through the magical world of LEGO Harry Potter. I've been collecting the Harry Potter LEGO series since the line started back in 2001 with the release of the very first movie. And for this video series, I'll be building sets that are part of the more recent waves of Harry Potter LEGO, beginning in 2018 and stopping with the 2023 releases. The plan is to go in movie order as close as possible, so without further ado, let's get started. Today we're actually going to be covering two different sets. The first is part 3 of 76390. This is the Harry Potter LEGO Advent Calendar, Diagon Alley, Journey to Hogwarts. And then the second set's going to be 30407, Harry's Journey to Hogwarts, a little poly bag. Just as a heads up, we will actually not be covering 75955, which is the Hogwarts Express, for quite a while, as it's actually based on a scene from The Prisoner of Azkaban. So this is actually our only sets that'll be focusing on anything related to that very first trip that Harry takes from platform 9 3/4. I'm going to actually go ahead and show a quick clip here of that moment.
What are you looking at? Blimey, is that the time? Sorry, Harry, I'm going to have to leave you. Dumbledore will be wanting his, well, he'll be wanting to see me. Now, your train leaves in 10 minutes. There's your ticket. And stick to it, Harry. That's very important. Stick to your ticket.
Platform 9. But Hagrid, there must be a mistake. This is platform 9 3/4. There's no such thing, is there?
Sorry.
All right, so coming again to the set number 76390. Everyone who's been following along knows that this is not my favorite set, and this unfortunately is no exception, but there are a few components here that are fun, and so I want to cover each of those. First is we ultimately get a little cart that has lots of little components to it. We have a nice little Hedwig molded print. We also get a little chocolate frog here that's sitting on top of a wand box, which is kind of nice to have gotten yet another wand box. But you can kind of see our little chocolate frog guy here. Nice little wand box. And then, of course, the very kind of typical thing that was happening with this whole wave, these little printed chocolate frog cards that were different for each one depending on when you got it. So ultimately, kind of fun to get each of these pieces. And then, of course, my personal favorite is this one right here. I'll actually do a little insert so you can see it better. But this is the platform 9 3/4 printed minifig size ticket. This, I think, is the highlight probably of the entire set, if I'm not being honest, or if I'm being honest, just because it's so beautifully done and such a fun little touch there. Which I really, really enjoyed. And when you compare it to the one in the movie, it's actually pretty spot on. Kind of standard little cart here. Nice that it has some actually rolling wheels. We'll cover more of that in a second. And then you can see our little wand box that's attached there. Aside from that, we also get a little replica, or kind of meant to mimic the interior of King's Cross Station here, and then the magical platform 9 3/4. We've got a great printed tile here that's got the Hogwarts crest, very reminiscent of the actual sign that's there. I'll again drop a picture in here so that you can see. And then great printing for our exact kind of font and style of the platform 9 3/4. And on a nice dark red background. So ultimately this looks pretty great. Could have been a little bit more robust, but this little model did not bother me. What did bother me was the fact that the cart was one build. The little individual pieces were all separate builds as well. And it just was a little bit of a letdown in that regard, that it's just like, okay, so yet again, we're kind of not getting a full experience here. But for what they are, they're sufficient. Next up is set number 30407. This was a little poly bag and was released in 2018. It has 40 pieces and it's a pretty decent poly bag. This is a scene that's been depicted in Lego form since the beginning of the series, but this one is one of my personal favorites as far as how they did it. So first up, we've got Hedwig here. There's kind of three main components. We got Hedwig, but Hedwig is in a cage, which is very reminiscent of that moment where Hedwig is in fact caged at King's Cross Station. Obviously, because of the size of Hedwig, it ends up being a little big and bulky, but I think ultimately this is pretty successful and an ingenious usage of these telescope pieces with these other kind of four-pronged pieces that have been used in coconut trees, chandeliers, and what have you. So it ultimately ends up looking pretty great. Next, we have another version of our cart here. This one comes with a few more components that you would kind of expect for a cart to have when on the way to Wizarding School. Got a nice little pearlescent gray cauldron there. We've also got a little book, which there is actually a book included in our Advent calendar, which does not contain this nice little printed tile showing the Wingardium Leviosa spell. Yet another letdown on that front on the Advent calendar. But this little cart is a little bit disappointing in some respects, just in the sense that it's just a gliding cart. It's not actually a rolling cart like our one from the other Advent calendar where it has actual wheels. But yeah, just a little gliding cart there. And then, of course, we have one little black suitcase so that we can load up the cart and Harry can go to school. So definitely a nice little set in that regard for the different components that are included. Nice little full cart. And then we've got Hedwig here as well. Last but not least, we've got Harry. I think he's probably the biggest letdown in this particular set. The reason being, he's just not wearing the right outfit. He is already in his Gryffindor outfit, which, of course, everyone knows he wouldn't have been sorted yet on his very first trip to Hogwarts. So kind of an odd choice to have him there. I guess this could technically be a depiction of him going on his way there to in the second movie. But we know that he wasn't wearing Hogwarts robes. He would have been in Muggle robes for that particular trip. When we compare these two together, I think it's kind of an interesting thing to kind of look at and what we ended up with. I think the polybag is ultimately successful and reminiscent of two specific polybags that were released back in 2011, which I'll show pictures of here. They were near the end of the HP Lego wave for that era. And when you compare that little poly bag and the relevant parts to the Advent calendar, I think the poly bag ultimately wins. But if you were inclined to combine the two of them, I think you can actually come up with a pretty great ultimate version of his cart and all the components of him departing for school. And with that, we are finally on our way to Hogwarts. If you are interested in following along on this journey, please feel free to follow the account. And if there is anything else that you think that I should be covering in these reviews, please drop a comment and let me know. Thanks for watching, and have an awesome day.